Would you like to work closer to home, save money on gas, and be rewarded for your hard work and attendance? Then Bellisio Foods is looking for you. That's right, Bellisio Foods is now hiring for multiple positions and shifts with great employee benefits, an on-site health clinic, competitive wages, and advancement opportunities. Bellisio Foods is a company that truly values their employees. Apply online at belisiofoods.com/careers.
Well, happy Monday, everyone. And it is the plaid edition, flannel edition of the morning show right here on Main Street TV. Of course, Jennifer here. And our good friend Pete Wilson is also here on a Monday after the festival.
Right, the day after.
It's like such a letdown, isn't it? Like all week you're like, woo, yeah. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's Monday again and it's gone.
Right. Well,
no more fried stuff.
No, there's always
no more elephant ears.
Always a little bit of a hangover because the routine changes. It speeds up, it slows down, whatever it is. But indirectly or directly, almost everybody in this town and many in the county get involved somehow.
Yes, absolutely.
Through their participation or somebody's participation that they know.
You know, that's right, and it's a great week here in Jackson. It brings a lot of folks into the area, which in turn, is good for the economy and all of the things. So it's a lot of fun. And the, kudos to the red shirts for and all the other folks that are involved in making this thing go well, because it's amazing.
Right. And of course, it's always going to be successful. It's just degrees of success. And if, some things go wrong, to bring it down a notch or two. But this one seemed to be very successful.
It did.
I mean, by about any yardstick you want to apply, Jennifer. There was just a teeny bit of rain very early Saturday morning, and that's during the Kiwanis 5K run, and most folks aren't even up to the festival then.
True.
Unless you're participating in that event. And so other than the really hot temperatures on Wednesday, also hot on Tuesday, it moderated. Weather was great. You can't ask for better parade weather than we had on Saturday night, which, that's probably when the festival draws 3/4 of its attendance through the whole week.
I would say so.
For that night, and it was
few people downtown on Saturday.
It was something. And I tell you what, on Friday evening, another huge crowd downtown for the Mark Chestnut concert. We're going to review all of that.
Yes.
It was really special. I talked to Brandon Davis at the very end, and you know what kind of a hard week that is for the so-called red shirts. He was the president of the Apple Festival. This is his second year. His family has been involved with it, for years. It's multi-generational there in the Davis/Perry family.
Yep.
And Brandon gave me a comment that I could use, for the paper and the radio. Mm-hmm. And it was very good. He stressed the fact that not only was it a success as far as the crowds and how things went almost down the line all the way through, but he appreciated all the support that he got from the other red shirts who donate so much of their time, much more than you might even imagine.
Sure.
From the business support in the community, because they couldn't do everything that they do volunteering their time and bring all these activities if it wasn't for the business support and the sponsorships that they get. And there's also individuals that do so much too.
Yep.
He thanked everybody for that. And he also said something, he borrowed a quote that he got from Ted Frazier, and I know Sheriff Ted Frazier got it from somebody else, and it's simply this: it's a wonder and an amazing thing how much things can be accomplished if nobody cares who gets the credit.
Oh yeah,
it's a
so good.
It's a teamwork type thing, and everybody counts on everybody else. Everybody's got everybody's back. They jump in there, and it's just not the red shirts; it's people supporting the red shirts, and so. The Apple Festival's been here since 1937. This was the 81st, but we should never take it for granted. It's a huge undertaking, and it truly does take everybody to make it work, and I think it did work this time.
Yep.
But anyway, let's do a little bit of review. In that grand finale parade, 127 units, about all of them showed up. 24 high school bands. And so
that is so cool.
Automatically you have a crowd generator there.
Yes.
With the participation and the spectators tied to the different units that are in parade, including all those big high school bands. And the Apple Festival does something with the bands that most festivals don't do. They pay their expenses to get here. That's one.
No, they don't.
They do. That's one
I
reason.
didn't know that.
They do. That's one reason they get so many. They just don't throw out a letter, a generic
Holy
letter, and say,
moly.
"Hey, come to the festival." It's by invitation only.
I did not know that.
Right. It's by invitation only, and that's why you see some of the same bands every year, including like the Whitehall Band from Columbus. They have come down for years and years and years, and they were there again on Saturday night. But on Friday night, let's jump to Friday night because Mark Chestnut was there, the country music star. Now, I'm not one, even though I've been covering it for a long time, there he is right there.
Yep.
I'm not one to claim about crowds because on Friday night, I'm usually at a football game. That's just the way it works.
That's
However,
true.
Jeremiah Shaver, who's been covering the festival for 10 years or so, he was there and he talked to some of the old guard. They feel that was one of the largest, we won't say the largest, but one of the largest Friday night crowds they've ever had. Look at that. Now that is looking...
Whoa!
Okay,
that is crazy.
You can hardly see the stage in this shot, but you see the traffic lights, so you know you're right in the intersection in front of the stage. Look how far back people were packed to watch that concert. I mean, it was amazing. I don't know how many elephant ears and funnel cakes and sausage sandwiches were sold, but that's another thing that makes the festival.
Whoa!
Now it's a pretty penny to bring in somebody.
Free entertainment, though. For the crowd.
Yeah, well, that's part of the draw. Of course, you got to. You're not going up to the shot and scene or whatever and putting out $40 or $50 for a ticket to see a big name and all the hassle that goes with it. You're coming here. You may have to stand. You may have to come early to get the position that you want. But, obviously that was a big thing, Mark Chestnut. On Thursday, they had the New Frontiers band there, which is a Journey tribute band. It also was a big success. Alex Shope was there. He is a Journey fan, our editorial assistant, and he said they looked the part and they sounded the part. So
I heard that.
Right.
That's
so
great.
that was on Thursday evening. That came off very well as well. And then I know we had Morgan Washam in here earlier in the week.
Yes.
I know that came off well too. The Roots concert series that they had down at the Lillian Jones Museum. Red Thompson is a music connoisseur. And he wanted to stop by and catch part of that. And he was there on the first day, I think. That is Charlie Manring singing there at the Roots series on Thursday. Mm-hmm. But they had music, of course, on Thursday and Friday, free at the Lillian Jones Museum. And that is great what Morgan Washam does with Wildwood Media to set all that up. I mean, talk about a great sideshow for the Apple Festival. Great timing, of course, because there's already people downtown anyway. And, some of them may want to get off the busy Midway and enjoy some music. And they had a great chance to do that because of Wildwood Media. But we'll jump back to the parade now on Saturday evening. As I said, 127 units, 24 high school bands. And they judged the bands that night. And we want to salute the CLA band, the Christian Life Academy band. Paul Hogue takes care of it. We don't have a picture of that, but we do want to mention on television that in Class C, that's the smallest band classification. They do it by sizes. Mm-hmm. The CLA band was first in both music and marching. They judged them in music, marching, and auxiliaries. And I'm not even sure whether CLA has auxiliaries, majorettes, flag corps, whatever. Don't think they do. So you can't do any better than first place in music and marching. So congratulations to CLA. After the auction, they had after the parade, they had an auction, a live auction. Ed Henderson was there in his infectious self, trying to get high prices for a piece that John Daniels did. This is the second year he's done, at least the second year.
Look at that.
There's Joe Wyan holding it, and that's Brandon Davis there on the left talking about it. But that is, we'll call it a decorative sign. But what it is, it's made out of metal, and then there's powder coating on it as well.
Yeah.
You can see the Apple Tower there and the Apple Man there on the front of that decorative sign. And this is something you can put up and have almost forever. because it is metal. They sold 10 of these. 10 down through 1. They're dated, so it's really a keepsake thing.
That is so
2022
cool.
festival, and there were some very good prizes given. I'm going to give credit to the people who bought those auction items, and of course, we'll have a picture. Well, there they are. Those are the buyers right there, and this is who they are. Mark Carmen of Carmen's Used Cars and Trucks. Of course, he gave $500. Joe Wyatt of the Apple Festival Committee gave the same price. Dan Folks of Sherwood Folks Insurance, another good community person, $525. Austin Wyatt, the son of Joe Wyatt, as an individual, gave $425. Michael Perkins of the Perkins family gave $450. Soda Township Terry Trish, $400. George Davis, he's a red shirt, but he bought one for you store it for $400. Brandon Davis, the president, brought one for $375 to Davis Veterinary Services. That is his wife, Genevieve, who has a veterinarian office up in MacArthur. Brett Reed, $350. He's always buying those barrels at Pig Iron Day, so he's a good community person. And then Rob Leonard, who was on the Apple Festival Committee. He's from Oak Hill. He also owns Oak Hill Storage and more. He gave the top price of $700. So it's a wonder. Some of these guys are either on the Apple Festival Committee. They already have businesses that support the festival, not to mention their individual thing. And here they are giving a
more on top of
big
all
price
of that.
for these auction items on
so
Saturday
good.
night. So that was outstanding. All right, so we go earlier in the day, and we had a new Little Miss crowned, Little Miss Apple Festival. And the new Little Miss Apple Festival is Jalen Velez.
Look, I love that picture.
that great?
I saw that online, and I thought that is just so
credit
great.
to Jeremiah Shaver.
So good.
He was there, covering it. We've got the standard photo of the group and all like that. But he was watching Jalen Velez because she was so expressive throughout the whole contest. And every time they announced a name, she was there, and you could see the expression on her face. So he trained his camera on her when her name was announced, and that was her expression. Talk
She
about
is so cute.
out of the mouth of babes. So expressive. She was just obviously thrilled. But she will take over from Hadley House, who was the last year's Little Miss Apple
She
Festival
has some
queen.
big shoes to fill. Hadley did a great job.
Hadley did. Hadley's very, very precocious. I think Jalen is too. And there they are posing with the queens. There's Jalen Velez out front, Hadley House right behind her. And then from the left in the back, Queen Abby Donnelly, second attendant Emma Davis, and first attendant Jade Winters. And let me say that the young ladies, Abby, Jade, and Emma just did a great job all week.
Yeah,
and I know them talking to past Apple Festival queens, they have such a great time all year. And then to be the center of attention with so many people paying attention to them, the little girls being so excited to be around them, have their picture taken. That's a big thing on their shoulders, but it's also a thrill, something they will never, ever forget.
That's right. People don't understand how much they work, though, during, it's a big thing to represent.
It is. It is very much. Now, late at night, they did that auction, but at 6:45 in the morning, there were some people out on the Apple Festival streets for the Kiwanis 5K run.
God bless your hearts, man.
Right. Well, anyway, I was there for that, so I can say there were lots of people, but there were 105 people signed up for the Kiwanis 5K run. These are the folks who ended up being the big winners. From the left, they are, if you're looking at your photo, there on the left is Emma Newsom. She was the top overall female finisher. She is from Jackson. She also happens to be the cross-country coach.
Yes.
So she knows a little bit about running. Great story on her. She grew up, was involved in things, but was not a runner, did not run cross-country or track that I know of. I think that's what she told me in high school.
Yeah.
But she got interested in it shortly after high school, for health reasons or whatever, or I just thought it would be a cool thing to do. And now she is a top flight female runner.
Kicks everybody's rear end, doesn't
she? Right, she did. And next to her is Michaela Gibson, who is just a teenager. She won in the youth division on the female side. Then you have Matthew Gibson. He is only 15 years old. He's from Jackson. He was the overall male winner, not only the youth division winner, but the female, or rather the overall winner as well. He's 15 years old, and he did it in 18 minutes and 41 seconds.
Way to go.
Which is a very good time, especially for a young man.
Yep.
Next to him is the adult winner, Irvin. Rob Irvin, of course, well known as the minister of the World Outreach Ministries up at Wellston. And Rob is 53 years old. They had to give you had to give your age. So how about that?
He got told
he was
on.
able to beat all those 20-somethings.
Hey, that's awesome.
To win. He couldn't beat Mr. Gibson, Matthew, but he did win in the adult division.
That's awesome.
So congratulations to all them. And I was there, and actually I got to be the MC for that.
Great.
And I marveled at how well organized Kurt Wiggins had that. I think you know Kurt.
I do know Kurt very well.
Talk about a guy who is detailed and organized. He was the one who had the Relay for Life for a number of years, bringing in $200,000 a year, he and his wife, Judy. And so he and the Jackson Area Kiwanis Club deserve a lot of credit. They had tons of community sponsorships, large and small, and all that money, including entry fees, after expenses, all that's going to go for the good things that the Kiwanis does in the community, including...
Which is a lot.
Exactly. They do a lot for kids. They do high school scholarships, all three county schools. They do the kids' activities, 4th of July. They do clothing projects. They do food projects. Just very active.
All kind of stuff.
Very active in the community. Also, congratulations to the Apple City Motorcycle Club. They had a big cruise in at Manpower Park. If you happened to be driving by, you saw motorcycles and cars. If it wouldn't have been for some rain early in the morning that probably dissuaded some of those car folks from staying away, they still ended up with a very good turnout. They had some People's Choice winners as well. And Jim Milliken of Colton, he's the council president. He's the wife of Colton Mayor Kim Milliken. And he's also the father of...
Dad of our sweet Courtney.
Our GM, Courtney Leach. He probably won what was the biggest raffle prize offered by any group at the festival. And that is
Courtney just came in and showed us. We were like, what?
A Harley Davidson motorcycle.
What? Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
And that is something. I understand that Jim used to pilot a motorcycle in his younger days.
Yeah.
And he is definitely toying with the idea of revitalizing his cycling career. So that was
the decision I'm sure will be ticket. Kim's.
Yeah. Well,
whether he gets on that motorcycle or not.
I can see Jim in that black leather jacket right now.
Oh, can you see it?
And Kim right on behind him.
I could see Kim doing it. I could see Kim riding the motorcycle herself. But
she's not afraid of anything.
Courtney had a picture. It's so cute. I wish we had it. We should have her send it to us. And it's Jim back in the day when he was riding a bike, and he's got like the big old bell bottoms on, and he looks like Evel Knievel. It's hilarious.
Right.
I thought he looked more like an Easy Rider kind of guy.
Maybe Easy Rider, yeah.
Guitar strapped to his back.
Kind of that kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know. It's a pretty good picture, though. We'll have to have her send it in.
All right. Well, this was a story kind of like connected to the Apple Festival, so I'll talk about it now.
Okay.
This was off the festival midway at Manpower Park. And that was the unveiling of the new Mayor's Orchard there.
Yeah.
You've probably heard about that.
I have, and I've had actually quite a few people ask me about that and where it is and how they can see it.
This was a big group that came out on Tuesday afternoon after the opening ceremony. So they did tie it in with the Apple Festival, naturally.
Makes sense.
But, we had festival people there. We had city people there. Had some county officials there. Had some agriculture people there in the person of Aaron Daly and Josh Winters, the new ag agent and all like that. But anyway, what happened with the Mayor's Orchard, 12 apple trees are planted now. You can see them there in that strip behind Walgreens on the Walgreens side of the creek there, which is still considered part of Manpower Park, even though it's across the footbridge. Mm-hmm. They hope that they'll grow. They don't know that they will. But they're hoping it. And this new city tree commission, which is involved, which is a Brent Stepp, Crystal Finch, and Beverly Ondera. Mm-hmm. They're the ones that made that happen. David Swackhammer and Harold Newkirk, who's on council, they're all on the tree commission. And it got revitalized this year. So this was a great launch project, first-year project for the tree commission, to get, to put the spotlight on trees and plant trees, the right kind of trees in the right places for the benefit of the community. And Randy Evans, he mentioned this several times when he spoke during the week, and I'm sure he mentioned it at this ceremony they had there on late Tuesday afternoon. he laments the fact that, we have the Apple Festival, and at one time, 40, 50 orchards in the county, and the fact is we have none now.
Mm-hmm.
So let's plant some apple trees. And
Why
we have
not?
at least a small orchard right here in the city of Jackson. So, they got their agriculture advice. They're crossing their fingers, and they hope those apple trees will grow. I guess it's a very delicate thing with the apple. I mean, once they're going, you're okay.
Yeah.
But it's a very delicate thing.
Yep.
And so they tried to plant the right kind of trees with the right kind of soil and all. And so, let's see what happens there. That is the new
That'd be great.
mayor's orchard.
Love that.
All right. Well, let's go to some regular news now.
Okay.
All right. Maybe we do that now.
Well, I suppose.
The Apple Festival is 364 days away, or 363. So we'll talk about that again sometime next September.
Yes. Hey, can I mention one thing? James and I worked the Total Media booth on Friday, and I'm sure that other people experienced the same thing, but just want to give a shout out to all the folks that stopped by, said hi, said they watched the show, how much they appreciate you doing the news, keeping them updated, especially folks that are from, here, but now live in other states. We had several of those stop by and just say that they can keep up on what's going on here by not only the newspaper, but, tuning into this show. And so it always means a lot to us to know that there are people out there listening and that we're appreciated. So thank you for stopping by.
You're right. That means a lot. Our viewers, our readers, our listeners, they're all important to us.
Absolutely.
That is the foundation that makes the business part work, we hope. And so, we do appreciate that. And, just like, I know the Apple Festival Committee people, the military people, we say you ought to appreciate. When you put it into words, you can't underestimate what that means to somebody. And we know about that because we feel good when they say nice things about us.
Yeah.
So
there's someone out there
So
listening.
Everybody that took the time to say something nice,
Yes.
this past week when we saw them, because you see a lot of people, we certainly do appreciate Jennifer. Yep. Very, very good point. All right. Up at Benton County, of course, the big story up there has been the dialogue and discussions that have been taking place at two different school board meetings about the alleged hate crime.
Yeah.
And, if, you've forgotten what happened before or what allegedly happened, an incident in the girls' bathroom at Benton County High School where a black female student who was a freshman allegedly was the victim of an assault by one or more white girls who were also high school students who were accused of assault and basically of carrying out a campaign of bullying against this female.
Yes.
Now, all we can say, obviously, is what people say is alleged.
Yeah.
We weren't in the bathroom, all right, of course. So, but it has turned into a pretty big story. It was the basis of a long discussion at one school board meeting on Tuesday the 19th, and then 2 days later, they had a special meeting because of all the talk and concern about what came out at the first meeting. But the parent, Eric Bledsoe, of the black female student, there he is speaking at the school board meeting on Tuesday. And he basically did not back off his Facebook post that kind of ignited this whole maelstrom.
Yeah.
He is upset that this happened. I know he posted pictures of where his you could see some bruises on the face of his daughter. He was upset that it happened. He said it was not the first time that she has been bullied by some of these same girls.
Yes.
But he was just as upset about what he feels has been the lack of response from school officials.
Okay.
All right. And so he was not the only one to speak. 3 different school board members, there's 5 on the school board, remember, they gave comments supportive of Bledsoe and critical of what had happened and the school's response to it. So this is big stuff.
Yeah.
This is not being supportive of the school administration, the superintendent, the high school administration, et cetera.
Right.
And Rick Brooks, who is the superintendent and has been for some time in Benton County, he did not answer any of the criticism because of the privacy issues involved. This was something that happened on school territory with a juvenile.
Yeah, it's so sticky because you're talking about kids and you can't give details about kids. So therefore, the information is very hard to come by.
Right. And the sheriff, of course, has been involved too, because whatever the school has done or will do, that will be an internal thing. because of privacy and because it's a juvenile, and the school just doesn't talk about that. They may talk in general about policies, but they're not going to talk about a certain incident unless
Right.
you know
Talk
they
about a
change,
kid's name.
They change course. On the public side, the Vinton County Sheriff's Office has confirmed and reconfirmed that they are doing an investigation right now. No charges have been filed, but I know one of the things they're doing, they're looking at any video was available. They're looking at cell phones because these videos were done on maybe one or more phones. They're looking they're looking at the evidence to see if there's a basis for a criminal charge, which you can do against a juvenile. Because there were some
cell phone videos of this alleged incident, correct?
I've not seen it, but I understand there are, yes.
We're told. So yeah, you have kind of two sides to this. You have like the school part of it, but then you also have literally a criminal aspect of this that's being pursued as well, or at least investigated.
Right, and the sheriff, Ryan Kane in Vinton County.
They're two different things.
Right, exactly. And when something is under investigation, we've been around the news a long time, Jennifer. They may say it's under investigation, probably should, but they're not going to give you a lot of details then and say what they might do or might not do. When the investigation is closed and they do something or they decide not to do something,
right,
that's when we'll know. Yep. But we know that the ball is still rolling as far as an investigation. And internally at the school, it's hard to say. It's hard to say what has been done or not been done as far as punishment, because the school will treat it almost like the sheriff's office. They will look for evidence because, what you have is the only persons in that restroom were the alleged victim and the alleged assault person or assault people.
Yes.
And so, you got to try to sort that out sometime and figure out what not just what you hear.
Yeah.
So anyway, that is an ongoing thing. At the second school board meeting, which was a special meeting just to discuss discipline and disciplinary policy, the school board voted unanimously. One member was not there, but they were on the same page on this. They voted unanimously to change some school policy to make it a little stricter when an assault has taken place. In other words, I guess when they know that one has, it's either confessed to, admitted, proven, expulsion will be something that is mandatory for at least a certain length. It won't be just something that is a possible punishment, because you have things like detention, you have suspension, and then you have expulsion. Mm-hmm. And expulsion, I guess, can be for different lengths. It doesn't have to be permanent.
I didn't know that.
Right. So, in every school, they can have their own policies and so forth. But Vinton County's policy on expulsion after an alleged assault has been strengthened. Also, they're going to try to do some more education things in the schools to address the general issue of bullying. Some school assemblies and all like that. Because at the first meeting where, Mr. Bledsoe talked about what he said happened to his daughter, other parents, according to Red Thompson Jr., he didn't count them, but he thought it was about 10, talked about their experiences, their negative experiences with alleged bullying involving their kids.
It's a whole different world.
It's a tempest for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll go to the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, and this is a more positive story.
Well, we like that.
Yeah. Well, Governor Mike DeWine recently announced $8.2 million going out to 13 different local law enforcement officers, agencies, to prevent and investigate instances of violent crimes in their communities. It's called a violent crime program. Well, the Jackson County Sheriff's Office picked up, get this, $191,862.72.
Well, thank goodness.
When they 72. Do that, how do they figure out it's going to be 72 cents?
Can't we just round it up?
It's not a round figure. But anyway, of course, this money will be used for retention bonuses through both deputies and dispatchers, of course, who are addressing violent crime problems. Funds in Jackson County will also be used for new technology to enhance intelligence gathering efforts and to support Operation Cleanup. That's a local program which focuses on the targeted enforcement of violent crime. So obviously, Sheriff Ted Frazier, I know he felt underfunded to a point, very respectful person, never steps on any toes that I know of, but I know that he has dealt with what is considered an underfunded situation for what the deputies and dispatchers are paid there, and also the numbers of deputies and dispatchers, especially on the deputy side. That's who does your footwork out there in the county, doing this.
That's right.
So I know that $191,000 is greatly appreciated.
Sure.
And he actually said so in a story that we printed in our Saturday paper.
That's great.
Another good story.
Okay.
H&H Industries down in Oak Hill is going to have an expansion. And they were helped. H&H is down there just north of Oak Hill off State Route 93. There is a picture of some of the things they do at H&H Industries. You've probably driven by there just north of Oak Hill, a mile or two. It's on the right if you're coming up from Oak Hill, on the left if you're coming down from Jackson on State Route 93. You can see it there on the side of the road. They specialize in oversized tires for off-the-road equipment, like construction equipment.
Yeah, big tires.
Right, real big.
Like
And
real big tires.
They are considered an industry leader in that category, obviously. It's very specialized, but they are considered an industry leader. And the grant that they received, which is $233,000, it will be used to expand their production capacity, and it will create 5 new jobs in Jackson County. I'm not sure how many jobs they have now at H&H, but at a time that we did a story several years ago, it was in excess of 100. Very quietly, one of the bigger employers right there in the Oak Hill area.
Sure.
And so the fact that they have this $233,000 expansion, it was enabled a great deal by a $25,000 Jobs Ohio inclusion grant, state money that will be used to help them get over the top on the expenses that they're going to have. And one of the things that they're promising, because they got state money, is that they will maintain their employment and actually create 5 new jobs there. And I'm sure those will be good paying jobs.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of labor, we'll speak of something not so positive. There is a possible strike looming.
James was just telling me about that.
Through the Kroger stores.
What?
In the Columbus division. And yes, the Jackson store out there in the Jackson Square Shopping Center, 530 East Main Street, is in the Jackson division. Of course, you got Kroger, Walmart, Save-A-Lot, Piggly Wiggly. I mean, you got grocery stores in Jackson County, but Kroger arguably may be the largest one.
Sure.
And so that's a big deal. But this is not something just at Jackson. It affects this whole Columbus division. But there is a union called the United Food and Commercial Workers International Union. And, of course, they have a local union representing these employees. I take it that's hundreds of employees in this division. And right now they cannot agree on some contract provisions, mainly wages. That's usually what it always comes down to,
money,
arguing about money. And right now there's not going to be a strike, but they have not been able to resolve this contract. And both sides agreed they're going to have one more talk on Tuesday. The company, Kroger, put out a news release saying they have already issued what they consider their last and best and final offer. Now, whether the union will accept that or whether there'll be a little more negotiation, give and take, we can't say, but they are going to meet tomorrow on Tuesday.
Okay.
There has been no strike date announced that I know of, but if that falls through, that is a possibility for our store out in Jackson. Because, it is mainly union people that are the rank and file employees out there.
So what does that look like then, Pete? Does that mean the store closes or what? Do you know?
I do not know. Obviously, a store has the right, management has the right to try to run it on their own with non-union employees, with management people doing things out on the floor that they might not normally do. I would assume they would try to stay. A lot of times some companies will, even though they disagree, will respect the picket line or whatever. Mm-hmm. But, the business has every right to stay in business with whoever they can get to work.
Sure.
Of course, I think we can agree the climate right now favors the employees.
It definitely does.
Right. Now hiring. It's all down the street. But if you're interested in some numbers, according to Kroger, a cashier's current wage is $17.10 an hour. Of course, I'm sure that can vary based on experience and position. That amount, if they go with what the company is offering, it would go up to $17.75 an hour this year, $18.25 an hour next year, and $18.90 an hour in 2024. I do not know what the company is counter offering, but that is what the company is offering. And Kroger put out a news release, and they said they're trying to do two things. They do want to give more money to their workers, but they also want to try to keep the price of groceries down as much as possible.
Yeah.
And tell me if I'm wrong, because I go and shop at all these stores. I shop at Kroger too. And just in general, does it seem like the price of groceries is up more than the 8.3 inflation rate that we keep hearing on the national news?
100%.
More than
Yes.
8.3, it seems like to me.
Oh.
Certainly for some items.
It's a little bit crazy. You go and you don't, if you need something, you need something, and you're just, going to probably buy it. But then you get to the register and you're like, wait, I have, some cat food and some whatever. And how is that $50?
No, I know.
Every day I feel like it.
You're there and you
4
think
things.
You need a few items you've run out, a few necessity items. And, you get out your 20 and you realize you need a 50 or maybe 2 of them.
Yeah. Like, I'm going to make chili. Wait. Why is my chili now costing me $40? Like, before it would have been 10. Like, I don't know. How does that happen?
Right. And then, that makes you understand a little bit better about restaurant prices.
Absolutely.
Because they've got to buy the food
That's
too.
a whole
and then
other story.
Pay the people and et cetera.
Yes.
I know you could talk about that for quite some
Yes.
time. But anyway, let's go back to Vinton County and something that the sheriff's office did up there. I'm sure it attracted some attention. And the sheriff's office did put out a news release, so we want to pass on this information to the public. This just happened last Friday, but the law enforcement personnel led by the Vinton County Sheriff's Office and in cooperation, I'm sure, with the Vinton County local schools, conducted drug-related searches at both the middle school and the high school.
What?
Yes,
Okay.
they did what they call, I guess you call it a sweep.
Oh,
Looking
man.
for drugs there. Of course, they didn't announce that it was coming, as far as I know. But the Jackson Police Department helped, and the Jackson County Sheriff's Office helped. And here's the good news. This blows my mind. No narcotics were found at either school in spite of the sweep.
Good.
Amazing.
That's great. Way to go.
However, the Sheriff's Office did say, and the Vinton County schools are with them on this, they will continue to have searches like this throughout the year to ensure, as they say, a safe and drug-free learning environment for the students and the staff. So that happened last Friday, and if you would have told me they found nothing.
I know. That's kind of surprising.
I mean, I presume they look everywhere. I don't know whether they looked in backpacks and like that, but I think they had that right.
Wow.
So I know they looked in lockers and so forth. All right, as far as COVID goes, we got pretty good news there. There'll be new reports coming out this week, maybe as soon as today. I don't have those yet. But last week, when the reports came out, the cases were down quite a bit in both Jackson County and Vinton County. However, overall, Jackson County, per the CDC rankings, their scale, Jackson has a high community level of transmission. Vinton County has a moderate level of transmission. And of course, what makes you really think is when you see that picture of the Mark Chestnut crowd.
I know. I was just thinking that 2 weeks from now.
Or you're at Alumni Stadium and you see all those people at the football game.
I wasn't going to say it, but yeah, I was just sitting here thinking, man, oh boy.
And you know what? At the Apple Festival, and I'm not advocating or non-advocating, but at the Apple Festival, you see all those people, and what are you saying? Maybe 1 in 500 had a mask on?
I don't even know if it was that.
And, I know that there's been some cold water thrown on the masks, I know, but still, it's amazing to me, and I understand, even if you're the CDC and the health experts, it's hard to know when you got a new thing, but last year we've got a lot of cases, or 2 years ago we have a lot of cases and things get shut down, and now we have kind of a lot of cases and nothing gets shut down and nobody's wearing a mask. So were we wrong the first time or are we wrong now? I don't know.
We'll see in 2 weeks.
Right. Well, everybody.
The first time.
Huh?
We didn't have vaccines the first time.
Oh, well.
That's right. Well,
I don't know.
Yeah, and even they have not been 100%.
No, definitely
but they're supposed to minimize the severity of the illness if you get it.
Well,
but on the other flip side of this COVID-19 dialogue, the Wellston Senior Citizen Center announced last week that they have closed operations due to the risk of COVID-19. I don't know whether that means there's been some cases, probably, but they have shut down operations. They will not be operating. They started last Wednesday, and it will go until next Monday, October the 3rd. So nothing at the Wellston Senior Citizen Center does not
Okay.
affect, as far as I know, the other two Senior Citizen Center. But remember, the Jackson Senior Citizen Center was closed for about a month. They
It
kept
was.
extending it a week
Yep.
because of COVID.
Yep.
So anyway, we know that some of that is still out there. All right, we want to congratulate Debbie Canner. She is an Oak Hill resident. She is the newest member, or probably will be, of the Jackson County Board of Elections. I had to use the qualifier probably, because even though the Jackson County Republican Party's executive committee voted her in unanimously to replace Kathy Smalley, her appointment has to be approved by the Ohio Secretary of State. That's
Okay.
Frank LaRose. However, Debbie is a Republican. It was the Republican Party that appointed her. Frank LaRose is a Republican. And Debbie Canner, I know she's got no baggage whatsoever. I'm sure she'll be approved, but it is a formality normally. But she has to be approved by the Secretary of
That
State.
makes sense.
She is the party secretary right now.
Okay.
Former teacher and administrator in the Oak Hill schools, very highly thought of. Right now, she also works with the governor's office with the Ohio Imagination Library, which, of course, the DeWines are very active in.
Yes.
Are-
Big deal.
Right. And so she stays busy with that as well. And so congratulations to her. We also want to announce that we talked about the Reverend Bob Davis and all he did for Jackson Area Ministries. He's in his 90s, and he finally retired after 45 years
After a few years.
as director of Jackson Area Ministries. And even though I'm sure that's a paid position, I'm told for the most part, he didn't accept any money.
Yeah.
That's not why he wanted to do that. He did it out of Christian love. They had a retirement celebration for him at the Christ United Methodist Church Family Life Center. And I was there for that. A lot of people stepped up and spoke. And they had a representative from the West Ohio Conference. That's the big region that represents the United Methodist Churches. And the number 2 person there, Dana Stickley Minor, came and handed him a letter written by the bishop himself.
Whoa, that's really cool.
Who is Gregory Palmer, and that's the man who stands at the head of the Methodist Church in this part of the state. And very nice comments made about Reverend Davis, who I'm guessing by now is in his retirement home in the Asheville, North Carolina area.
Good for him.
All right, and we saw Nick Rupert earlier today. He was in the office for another reason. So you talked to him. Well, we want to acknowledge that the air show was one of the best ever. A couple of the people that were involved in it thought it might have been their biggest crowd in years. And of course, yes, they had great weather up there.
They had
Talk
wonderful
about an
weather.
event that counts on the weather.
Yes.
And it's just not rain, it's wind too.
Yep.
Because
and fog.
And you can't
Lack
have, and if you're a spectator, you got to be able to see, if the visibility's not very good. But they had a great event up there, and we had coverage in the paper, and we want to congratulate Nick Rupert and everybody with the Vinton County Pilots and Boosters Association for what was a great event. You can check out our website for some photos as well on that, and of course we had it in the paper. Tonight, it's not too late to get a ticket, I'm sure. The Jackson County Heart Support Group will have its Harvest Through a Heart dinner and auction.
Okay.
It will be this evening at the Family Life Center. They raise money to support heart and cancer patients in Jackson County. It's local people in this group, and they see that the money goes where it's needed to these heart and cancer patients and their families in Jackson County. Every cent. And that's what they use for the proceeds from the dinner and from the auction. And Ed Henderson will be there to do the auction services. Once again, that's at 6 p.m. tonight at the Family Life Center. They'll have a matchbox raffle along with the auction, and then, of course, a very nice dinner as well.
Yes.
In Oak Hill tonight, and it looks like the weather is going to be cooperative, mosquito spraying taking place in Oak Hill. It happens in all of our little communities this time of year, and even earlier in the summer and in the spring as well. But it's going to be conducted in Oak Hill this evening. It will begin at 8 p.m. Anyone with respiratory issues should consider closing their windows and shutting off window air conditioning units until the fog is dissipated, if you happen to see that fog.
Yes.
They didn't say it's going to be in a certain area, so I take it that they will be hitting what they consider the hot areas for mosquitoes in and around Oak Hill.
Am I correct that you can hear? I don't know because I haven't lived in the city in a long time, but I think that you can hear the truck or the sprayer coming. So is what I've been told.
I think that is
So if you hear a weird noise,
right, and
turn off
you're
your
going to
stuff.
see a kind of like a big tanker type truck. I think is
Yeah.
how they normally do it, or in the back of a pickup, you see a big contraption.
So don't,
But
I don't think anybody's going to need their window air conditioner on tonight anyway.
no, and it's 8 p.m., so it's going to be dark then.
Yeah.
So be aware that will be taking place in
Oak Hill.
In Oak Hill, and once again throughout the village. It sounds like to me. Okay, we've seen a lot of orange cones, and we're going to see more in Jackson because tomorrow, unless a schedule's changed, ODOT, through its contractor, is going to be starting some big paving projects in Jackson. We're talking about the section of State Route 39 between South and Broadway. That's actually the end of State Route 139. We think about 139 being south of town, but it actually comes all the way to Main Street, middle of town. They did the section on Huron Street, Vaughn Street, and South Street last year. Now they're going to do that section from South Street up to Main Street on Broadway.
Okay.
So that's going to be paved. They're always going to be keeping the road open, at least one lane. They may have flaggers, and they're going to do this work in the evening.
Okay.
Mayor Randy Evans said that's what
They're
ODOT wanted
fast
to do.
at it too. I mean, like they're really quick at it.
Right, and this is main block of town.
This is huge, so it's a good deal.
Then they're also going to be doing the bigger project of the two involves State Route 93 almost all the way through town, from all the way on the one end coming from Colton on Morton Street, all the way through the downtown area out to where the 32 interchange is.
It will be a bit inconvenient, but boy, is that going to be nice when it's done.
Right, and remember, once again, they're going to be doing the work in the evening.
Yep.
In the evening hours, I believe from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Okay.
And it will be Monday through Friday. They say traffic will be maintained in one lane throughout construction with flaggers being used. Work will be estimated. They really pinned this down. Fall of 2022, whatever that is. I mean, that could be.
Isn't it fall now?
that could be the third week of December.
Yeah, right.
That's how long the fall goes. So, it's obviously time approximate and in there.
And weather.
And, I'm sure there's other jobs that the contractors do and they have a deadline date. And, the weather, of course, is a big variable as well. But, when you're driving through Jackson, you should be careful anyway when you're in the downtown area and on the very busy commercial streets, but especially so now with the paving work that will take place. And the last thing that Mayor Evans knew is that it would start tomorrow.
Okay.
And technically, it's already started because of some of the related work.
Well, you've seen them doing the
and
curbs and all
and
that.
And actually, those are the city and contractors for the city doing lots of the curb replacement work.
So the city had to do the curb work, and then the state is doing the paving through.
Right, the state contractor for the state, but it's main, and you think it's their city money at work. That part isn't. That's a state project, and they pay at least 90% of that cost. But don't think that the 10% doesn't amount to a whole lot.
It amounts to a whole lot, yeah.
All right. Also, speaking of highway construction, if you're heading out towards Chillicothe at the roadside rest area, they've been working there since the spring. Still going. There's going to be another phase to that. The little road there on the other end of the rest stop area, if you're coming from Jackson, there's a little road there that you come out on from the roadside rest, and it goes back. There's a township road called Kane Road.
Yeah.
It's by that log cabin.
Yep.
That stayed open the whole time. Well, now they've come to the point where they have to close that for a while.
Ugh.
So you can't pull into Kane Road. It's just a little township road, or come off Kane Road onto 35 for a while. They say that project will take 3 days, and it will start on Tuesday.
Gotcha.
They'll be doing a full-depth pavement replacement on Kane Road, so it's in great shape too, as well as the roadside rest.
Cool.
And if you've forgotten what they're doing, there's been some traffic accidents, some fatalities even there.
A lot.
Because of where the roadside rest, big trucks usually pulling off the road and cars, and sometimes it's foggy and all like that. But anyway, they're adding extra lanes on both sides, so there's turn lanes and de-acceleration and acceleration lanes. So that should help greatly. It's just like they have at the truck stop.
At the truck stop,
right?
yeah.
It would be just like that.
Yep.
Only a little bit bigger and on both sides of the road.
Yep.
All right, this Sunday, Coach Josh McGraw, we've talked about him. That's the Jackson baseball program. They've had all this success through the years. We broadcast their home baseball games. They had championships and all like that. They're going to have an alumni baseball game this Sunday. Sunday, October 2. Yeah, an alumni baseball game. You have all these alumni activities, and he is asking some of these old players, they're not old yet, but they're going to come back. They're out of high school and play in an alumni baseball game. And all you need to do, if you're one of the players who's played at Jackson High School in the past.
I mean, does it matter what year it was?
It doesn't say so.
Okay.
But it's billed as a homecoming weekend. The game will be at 1 p.m. on Sunday. So, you don't have to miss the Ironman football game. You don't have to miss the Buckeyes on Saturday, whoever you root for. This is going to be on Sunday. And they can play on Sparky Howler Field, just like they used to. And all they have to do is give Coach McGraw a call. The number is 740-418-1931. Once again, 740-418-1931. Or you can email him at jmcgraw@jcs.k12.oh.us. Call the number. That might be easier.
That's so much easier.
The cost is $25 per player, and that's just to take care of the expenses.
Yeah.
So that's a neat event there that is coming up. And in case you haven't heard, Trick or Treat. They have named a date for Trick or Treat.
Okay.
It will be Saturday, October 30th. And and once again, the mayors of Jackson, Wellston, Oak Hill, and Colton have collaborated to make sure that Trick or Treat is at the same time on the same evening. It's going to be Saturday, October 30th, the day before Halloween, 5:30 p.m. until 7 p.m. If there's any local changes, I'm sure they'll be announced, by the mayors or so forth. That's 5:30 to 7. Citizens are welcome to take part by passing out candy to the little ones.
It's Sunday, not Saturday.
Sunday.
Right.
It's my fault.
Right. It's Sunday.
It's Sunday, not Saturday.
It's Sunday, October 30th?
Yes.
Is it still the 30th, correct?
Yes. Third day is the Sunday. It's Sunday.
Okay,
Oh,
Sunday.
Way to go, Jeremiah.
Hey.
We'll teach you about the days of the week later.
I went through and fixed it all.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, we have late breaking news. We've
Beep,
changed Trick or Treat from Saturday to Sunday. I figured that Saturday sounded right to me. Saturday's more of a...
So Sunday's the 30th.
Sunday must be the 30th.
Okay.
Right.
So Sunday. It's on Sunday.
Sunday the 30th. Right.
I think it makes more sense to have it on Sunday anyway because, there's people aren't working as much and things, but...
Right, exactly. All right.
And there's no football games.
No, that's...
Well, Ohio State or whatever.
I don't think they're playing. I think their game I don't know. We don't know yet. They don't actually name the start time for the games usually until the week before, so we don't know when that'll be. But if Ohio State is playing, I'm saying that the dads at least will not be always going with their children.
I would say.
It'll be up to the moms.
That's right. Hey, by the way, I got to go to a game this Saturday. I haven't been
Great
since before
experience, is it
Jamie and
not?
I got married. It's been that long.
It's a great experience.
It was a blast. It was so fun. And we were able to, we were right beside the tunnel where the band comes out. I have a video. I maybe show it this week sometime. It was just unbelievable experience. Very cool. The band itself is breathtaking, let alone, the game. And we happened to be sitting in the end zone where they just kept scoring and scoring and scoring and scoring.
Okay.
So I was like, this is great.
I tell you, it is an experience with a capital E. You don't even have to be an Ohio State fan or a football fan.
Goodness.
Just the whole
so fun.
The whole thing, being part of that, with 100,000 people plus in the house and just excitement. It's electric.
It is. And, honestly, though, I was like really almost kind of, I don't want to say dreading it. I was had some anxiety issues about that many people being in one space and like how that was going to work and whatever. But, cell phones still worked. Like I thought that would just die out and, that still worked. Like bathroom lines weren't long. Concession lines weren't long. Like I don't know how they do it and have 100,000 people in one spot and it just goes. I was surprised.
Right. Well,
it's amazing.
What I would say, if you haven't been to a game and you get a chance to get a ticket or invest in a ticket,
if you can
do it at least once. Do it at least once. I'm a big fan. I've been to some games. I'm content to watch it from my living room.
Well, that's how we are typically, but had the opportunity to go, so why not?
No,
right?
That's right. And sometimes it's not all that easy to get a ticket either. So,
yeah, we were fortunate.
Right. And now, of course, it's a tiered system. You never know what it might be. The more high-profile games are going to cost a lot more.
Yes, sure.
So that's good and bad because, if you just want to experience a game, maybe you can catch one of those lower cost games, and it's going to be a big difference as far as this a savings,
It is
I
in
guess
cost,
you could say.
but you're still going to have the same cool electric environment. It's just amazing to me. I couldn't believe it.
Right, it's very, very special to be sure. And of course, with the way the football team's playing,
I was going to
not
say,
mention,
I mean, it didn't hurt to, I mean, it was almost like, okay, guys, stop scoring because this is getting ridiculous.
But anyway,
I'm not going to tell them to stop scoring.
And it was 52-21, and the game wasn't maybe that close.
It could have.
And you're talking about playing
been a lot worse.
What is normally one of the top Big Ten teams. So,
Yep.
But it can change week to week. Don't be shocked if somehow they have trouble against Rutgers, who is much lower rated than Wisconsin next week. It's just
You never
it's just
know.
the way it is. You talk about emotions, whether you're a man or a boy or whatever, and they can change from week to week.
You're correct.
And about the time that you think you're pretty good is about the time you're ready to get knocked off your pedestal.
Yep, that's right. That's when someone's there to bring you down.
Exactly. So anyway, speaking of the atmosphere around the football game, very special up at Vinton County this last Friday because it was homecoming.
Oh, cool.
Right. And that means that a homecoming queen was announced. And there she is, that she's on the left. That is Marissa Huff, being crowned as the 2002 homecoming queen. She's being crowned by last year's queen, Cassandra Mares. So congratulations to Marissa. Homecoming is a big deal up at Vinton County, like it is at most of the schools. They even have a parade during the week and a bonfire, pep rally, all that. And Marissa Huff, a senior, is the queen, and we'll have that picture and a couple other related pictures in our next paper, Jennifer, on Wednesday. Speaking of homecoming, coming up at Jackson High School this Friday, and of course the homecoming dance on Saturday. And I don't have all the details on this, but it's homecoming weekend at Wellston High School as well. So, and I think Oak Hill might be the next week after that. Oak Hill is on the road this week. But
always fun.
We hope I know that we'll have some pre-coverage of the homecomings through Jackson and Wellston in our Wednesday paper as well. And this is interesting, Jennifer, from the old days when we went to homecoming dances. I always had trouble snaring a date, but I usually came up with something. But anyway.
I doubt that, Pete. I heard you were quite the ladies' man.
I'm sure I was. No, absolutely not. But anyway, on homecoming dance, you know what? They did this on COVID, and they're going to do it again this year. I don't know whether it's because of COVID or it's just something different to do. The homecoming dance at Jackson, weather permitting, is going to be in the Alumni Stadium parking lot.
Yeah, that was kind of neat.
Right, I know it was because of COVID before, and it may be again this year, but they're doing it in the high school parking lot. If the weather is not good, I don't know whether that's rain or snow or cold, they will move it inside to the field house.
Okay.
So we'll see how that goes. And of course, homecoming at Wellston too. In our football over the weekend, we had 2 winners and 2 losers on our local teams. The Jackson Ironmen had a stiffer test than expected with Miami Trace, but they did come out on top.
Good.
49-28.
Okay.
Got off to a pretty big lead, and Miami Trace got within a touchdown in the fourth quarter. Jackson scored 2 touchdowns late to win by 3 touchdowns.
Great.
Jackson is now 4-2 overall. They've won 2 in a row, and they will play Hillsborough this Friday at home. That's, of course, homecoming. The Vinton County Vikings, I mentioned it was homecoming last Friday for them. Of course, it dampens it a little bit if your football team loses. Well, Coach T.J. Carper made sure that they didn't. They beat a good Albany Alexander team 48-14.
Wow.
So the Vikings have won 4 straight. They are 4-2 overall, and they are 3-0 now in the TVC Ohio. And right now, they're tied for first place. They might even be in first place. I'm not sure where the other teams are.
Yeah.
But you can't do any better than be undefeated in the league. And so they will go ahead and play again this week and try to stay in first place. It looks like that Nelsonville York, who's always good, may be the other team that will have something to say about who wins the TVC Ohio title. They will be playing later in the season. Also, the Wellston Golden Rockets had one of their better games but came up short. They went on the road at River Valley, were ahead at one time, but ended up losing 42-22. And so they will get on the horse and try again next week.
Okay.
The Oak Hill Oaks lost at home last Friday to Lucasville Valley. That score was 35-7. The Oaks, I believe, will be at Wheelersburg this Friday.
Okay.
Hey,
So-
Pete, and we have the radio replay of all those games on our podcast feed. So if you listen to
That's
the
true.
podcast of Main Street TV, you've got all 4 of those high school football games in your feed to enjoy also.
Okay. Well,
Thank you, James.
there
And
hear
hey,
that.
another thing we need to say before we get out of here, Pete, is today is the day for the new Telegram website to launch.
Yes.
So
Right.
if you are having issues accessing the website today, don't worry. It's because we're launching that new site. Our subscribers will have to create a new password. You will receive a welcome email with instructions on how to do that. If you have issues, you can just give us a call and we'll help you out.
Right. And, it's a transition thing. And there's always going to be, issues or
Couple of
things
hiccups
or
along
hurdles
the
you
way.
have to jump. And that's on our end. That's on our, the hometown group that is providing our new website.
Mhm.
That's certainly on the subscriber side. Nobody has more trouble with passwords than I do when I have to get into something or whatever. It doesn't matter if I know what it is or whatever. I have to create a new one. So my heart's with you there.
Yeah.
But you'll be getting
It's
an
worth
email
it,
if you're a
though.
subscriber about a new password. And remember, it's all for the better because our company has made an investment in what we feel will be an improved website. We've always tried to put a lot of news on there,
Yep.
but we'll do that, and we'll try to do even more and even in a more timely fashion for our digital subscribers. And remember, of course, with the Telegram, we have many people who are print only. We have people who are transitioning now; they're print and digital both. A few, a lesser number, are maybe digital only. But we encourage you to look at our digital product if you're a print-only subscriber, because the advantage
remember,
is...
if you have a print subscription, you have a digital subscription. There is no such
Yeah.
thing as a print-only subscriber.
Right. Okay. Okay. You have access to the internet, but you may choose not to use it because you're not
Sure.
used to it, or you're not used to it, or whatever. We're encouraging you, if you're a subscriber, to try out our internet edition. Our e-edition is what we call it.
Yep.
Because the advantage there is, it's accessible lots of other places. When you're on the road or whatever, you don't have to have the paper with you or
Right.
whatever. And of course, another advantage is that we put some of our news on just as soon as we get it done. You don't have to wait for
Correct.
the publication or for the paper to come off the press.
You got it. All of that.
Right, exactly.
Technology at its finest.
Right. And so, that's a very good point that James made. Even if you're interested in only the print edition, for no extra money, the digital comes with that. And you can
There you go.
you can do digital only for a slightly lesser price.
That's true too.
And on the digital, it's all there. All the articles are going to be there. There are some things we can put on that we can't even put in the print edition because of
Sure.
space.
Yep.
There's only so many pages in the paper, but it's an infinite almost amount of space on our digital product. And also we can be more timely with that. And so we urge our subscribers who are mainly print and or have just been interested in the print to try to take a look at our digital product as well.
Yep. Absolutely.
The telegramnews.com, if you don't
And
know
that's
the
going
URL.
to be, like James said, we don't know exactly when today, but the word is at some time that transition will be made. And when you call up the website, it's going to look a lot different. It's going to have the same stuff on it, but it's going to look a little bit different. And we hope it'll be easier to use and it'll have more things on it, actually.
There you go. All right. Well, Pete, thanks so much for spending your morning with us. Lots and lots of news, and you will be able to see more Apple Festival stuff, and I assume, in some of the papers coming up.
We got
And
lots of Apple Festival coverage coming, and lots of other things
Lots of other
as
things
well.
as
But
well.
we'll certainly focus on the Apple Festival because all you had to do is be downtown on Friday or Saturday. There's a few people interested.
There are just a couple there. So, all right. Well, have a great day, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll be right back here tomorrow. Bye-bye.